Hi, I'm Liz Downing with Ecom Cooperative here for another spotlight video. I've got my good friend Yael Cabilly here with me. Say hello, Yael.
Hey, hi Liz. How's it going?
It's good to see you. I'm always excited when I get to record with one of my friends. The purpose of a spotlight video is to introduce you to our partner. Yael has been a partner of ours since we very first started in 2020, late 2019, but we're back for another year. It's 2024 right now. If you're watching this far, far in the future, hello from 2024. But we're going to put Yael in the hot seat today and talk about her past, her history. I'm going to try not to embarrass her or make her uncomfortable because that's not the point of a spotlight video. But the first question I wanted to ask you, and then we'll get into your business, but I want to know about you first. What came first, law or e-commerce?
Law. I'm a trademark lawyer originally. So before this whole e-commerce venture, I was a trademark attorney.
And when did you decide that you wanted to be a lawyer?
Um, to be a lawyer, I guess when I was 20 after the army. So I went to the military, and then when I finished, I was hesitating between biology and law, and jumped on the opportunity.
That's awesome. So you went to law school and you got into trademark law, and I guess that's how you started to meet people in the e-commerce business, or was it? Tell
It
me,
yeah.
tell me a little bit about that journey into e-commerce.
It's actually funny, I love the stories. Yeah, it's the first question I ask sellers, especially when they exit at the end of the road. How did you get there? In my case, it started with one seller. He had a trademark issue, and he was selling on Amazon. And he came to me like, "You're a trademark lawyer. I have this problem. Try to fix it." And I fixed it with the attorney that was filing the complaint. And then he came back to me and said, "Listen, I have this group of 1,000 sellers. How about I tell the story of what happened to me, and then maybe people will come to you." And then he did, and it was like 10 or 15 people wrote to me. And then he said, "Let's do a webinar together about how not to infringe intellectual property." And then we did, and then 40 people came to me. So I'm like, whoa, there's something very interesting here. And the more I got into it, I saw that Amazon was really doing what they want. They were suspending. It was in end of 15. So they were really suspending without explaining anything, especially in IP. They were like suspending you, and then you have to kind of guess: is it trademark? Is it copyright? What happened? So it started with one, and then on these groups, you help one, and then they tag you for another one and another one. And so at that point, I decided let's really start a law firm that focuses on e-commerce and in particular Amazon. I also opened my own account and started selling kind of drop shipping or reselling, just to understand how it works, the behind the scene. And then I stopped. But yeah.
I think we all kind of did that. It was sort of an eye-opening thing. We don't know about this industry. You go your whole life not knowing anything about it, and then all of a sudden, wait a minute, what? I know for me, it was, wait a minute, people can sell on Amazon. And that was like the aha moment I had in 2014. So we're about the same time. And Amazon was so different back then, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was wild. Some things were better. It was easier to sell just anything. And some things are way better now. I think on the legal side, Amazon made a lot of progress. There are still things that were funny back then and still today, but there's a lot of new things. Like the brand registry didn't exist back then. You could file complaints, but it was very wild. Now it's more organized. There are still huge loopholes. So we're in touch with Amazon all the time, trying to help complete the picture.
Well, I remember there were a lot more resellers back then in 2015. So there were a lot, and there was no brand registry, there was no transparency, there was no clear way to protect your brand from unauthorized sellers. And for people that were doing drop shipping and retail arbitrage and online arbitrage and stuff like that, they didn't really have a clear playbook on, no, you can't sell that. You know, they were going to end caps at Target and Walmart and scanning things with their Amazon Seller Central app to see if there was any margin on it. And there was no replenishable inventory in that model. There was no, it was just a free for all. And some people got really successful that way. But for the brands that already had G10 numbers and already were selling them, you know, in brick and mortar, and they were already established, to get onto Amazon and then realize, oh, there are 50 other sellers that are selling this particular item and it's a shared ASIN. I don't have any control over it. I can't put my brand on it. You know, it was just a way different time. So if you're new to e-commerce or you don't remember all that, that's what it used to be like. And so that's what Cabilly and company faced when they first got into the industry and they first started talking to these people that had real, honest to gosh, established brands and didn't know how they were breaking the rules.
Yeah, what's funny is that back then for private labels, we were telling them, register a trademark. Then you can remove hijackers, you can fight anyone. And they were like, trademarks? Why do I need that? I get this, the brand registry and I get it even without a trademark. Why would I need a trademark? And then one day I think it was in 2017 or 2018, Amazon said, if you don't have a trademark, you don't have a brand registry. And this is where everything shifted. I mean, for us as a law firm dealing with trademarks, this was very good news, obviously. But this is when people understood, oh, I have a trademark, I can actually enforce it. So this is how most sellers work that way. If they don't absolutely need something, they won't do it. It's the same as liability insurance. If Amazon doesn't enforce it, nobody will have it.
Well, remember when nobody had to have that either?
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is where the big change started there. Amazon requiring a trademark for brands, and then people started using the brand, and then Amazon added more tools to enforce it, and then they added the transparency, and then they added the zero program. They have many programs around it. The patent evaluation program. So this all came, you know, one after the other through the years. When we started, it was all wild.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing complaints from sellers about, oh, I can't believe I have to have, it takes forever to get trademarked. It takes forever to get this legal stuff done. And then how am I supposed to get insurance? And why do I have to do this? And it's all just a testament to, I mean, Amazon grew so fast and then realized, oh yeah, we need people to do that. So in an attempt to grow up the marketplace, to mature the marketplace and make it a place where like a true digital store, like a digital shelf, the digital superstore, right? In order to do that. And there's still, I mean, my goodness, I take a supplement, or I did, until I was feeling really, really poor, really, really bad. And I get this message from Amazon that says, this supplement that you bought, this was counterfeit. And it has been evaluated by the FDA. And here, we're going to refund your order. And I'm like, thanks a lot. But if I die, that's not going to do me good. But it's still happening. There still needs to be policing on the platform to keep the product offerings pure and to keep everybody on the up and up. So, and Amazon has evolved its terms of service. Like you said, they've added all different types of rules. So we talked about them having to have trademark. We talked about them having to have liability insurance. What are some of the other things that have changed so drastically? So we talked about brand registry too. What are some other things that have changed so drastically since like 2015?
Yeah, I think that on the patent side as well. So Amazon, so in the past, so there's two types of patents, right? There's the design patent that covers the shape of the product, and there are utility patents, which are the patents that everybody knows, right? I have an idea, I'll get a patent on. So for design patents, Amazon always knew what to do. There's a picture, if it's identical, I'll remove it, right? It's the same thing, let's remove it. But when you file a complaint for utility patents, Amazon reads it. It's like 10 pages with claims, a lot of text, some photos. They don't understand. Their representative are not equipped with the knowledge to understand if it's infringing the patent or not. And so what happened is in the past is that they either didn't enforce it at all, or they enforced it, and then if they were wrong, we couldn't convince them that they were wrong because they don't understand the patent. And so what they did, which is huge, they introduced the patent evaluation process, which is a kind of arbitration. So, you as a patent owner, you file it once against like 14 different or 50 different infringers. And then those infringers receive a notice. And if they want to fight it, they have to submit $4,000, which they either get back or they lose if they lose the process. And then it takes only 3 months. There's an arbitrator that says if it's infringing or not. If they lose, the listing goes down. They lose the 4,000. If they win, the listing stays up. And they get back their 4,000. So this is kind of, it's a mini, kind of a lawsuit, but in 3 months, very quick, kind of efficient, not too expensive. And I think this is a very good initiative that Amazon has. That's just in the, we have in IP, in the trademark world, there were many changes. This is the patent word. And then I think generally on the health side and suspensions, each year you see on the dashboard more options. Some of them are automatic as opposed to the past. Amazon explains better what you did. Still, just like in 2015, sometimes they give you, you were suspended because of the code of conduct, and you have no idea what type of section what did you do, or what do they know you did? That's the kind of the big question. So still today, part of Amazon's philosophy is, first of all, you should know what you did. That show me you know what you did, and then show me you fixed it and what you'll do to prevent it in the future. This is part of their culture, that you have to find out what you did or come clean. That has not changed, not a bit. The same thing, 8 years.
That's always seemed kind of sticky to me, right? Because I have known plenty of sellers who honestly did not know what they did. And then I've known plenty who totally knew what they did, but didn't want to admit it because they thought if they could say, gee, Amazon, I don't know what I did. Could you please tell me, was it this? Was it this? It's right. Like Amazon's calling that bluff right away and saying, okay, if you're one of the innocent people who doesn't know what you did, then you better educate yourself pretty quickly.
Doesn't work. You can call, that's another thing they added. They added the health, you can call now the kind of the health department, and sometimes they tell you, sometimes they don't. They're really, it depends who's the representative, but it's, again, better than in the past where you have no access at all to the seller performance team. There's more escalation teams now, getting better.
Well, there had to be, right? I in the very beginning of my time in e-commerce, I worked for Ecom Engine, and they've got a reputation management tool called 3x5. And I traveled all around the land telling people, don't do this when you ask for product reviews, or you will get suspended. And that was a whole bunch of policy changes and all that kind of stuff. But I remember doing presentations and telling people the 4 different places they need to look in Amazon's terms of service, in Seller Central, to make sure that their review requests were compliant. And it was like buyer seller messaging, the customer review section, and it was like the communication section. It was 4 different places. And I would tell people, check them every day. If you're not totally sure and you're going to make a big change, check them a couple times a day, because they change, and Amazon doesn't send a, hey, seller, we changed this. I mean, sometimes they do, but back then, I mean, this was like 2016. They didn't. So I said, it's clunky and it's difficult, but if you want to make sure you're covered and make sure you're compliant, you need to look at these 4 places every single day. And they were changing really, really rapidly then. And that was a challenge because, I would link to it, but then Amazon would change the URL and they would change where it lived, and then they'd combine 2 sections together. So that brings me to the huge admiration and awe I have at this tool you've created that's on your website. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So actually, for these reasons, we've created it. I think about, twice, three times a week we get a message from a seller. Tell me, can I use a background like that? Can I don't know, use a review from one of our customer and put it in one of our images? Can I do this? Can I do that? And we were replying from what we remember. Sometimes that's a question we've never seen, so we research and we send them a screenshot and a link, and this all takes a lot of time. And this is us, we're attorneys, we do that all the time. And we felt that the search on Amazon's on the terms of service on the business agreement is terrible. It was really difficult to find the right place. And so we've created this wizard, which we call Billy. And what it does is, you can ask any question about Amazon's terms of service. It scans all the pages all the time at the minute you ask the question. And then it gives you an answer with a link to the specific policy. So, it gives you the answer. And then if you press on the policy, you will actually see the Amazon's page saying exactly that.
It's so cool.
It's fun. We use it, every day almost. Every day. We use it. Yeah.
I use it almost every day too. Well, and I just think about how many suspensions could have been avoided if that had been possible from the very beginning. So you have created something that everyone can use. It's open source. You're not charging for it, which boggles my mind, but it's just right. It's just right there on your website and anybody can use it. So we're going to link to that in the show notes and everybody can go check it out for themselves. But it's just such a useful and important resource, because the one thing that hasn't changed, just like you said, is that if you break the rules, you have to know what the rules were first. Saying, hey, sorry, I didn't know that was a rule, doesn't fly with Amazon. So use Billy, ask Billy. So it used to be Ask Jeeves. So now it's Ask Billy. When you have a question about Amazon terms of service, ask Billy. So thank you so much for joining me today. This has been so much fun. If you've got questions about any of the things that we've talked about today, please reach out to Cabilly and Company. They are a great law firm. Everybody there is super knowledgeable. I refer people to them a lot, and I love the thought leadership and the initiative that you guys put out into educating the community. So thank you for that. Thank you for being such a wonderful partner to the seller community.
Thank you, Liz. Always fun working with you, and we're here for any help, any legal help or anything.
So you can ask Yael and you can ask Billy. We'll see you next time, but all of the information is below on how to access Billy and how to talk to Cabilly and Company. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.